While NeNe Leakes was pulling in over $2 million per season from Real Housewives, some of her co-stars across the franchise were literally down to their last $100. We're talking about women who appear on national television, living in mansions, but behind the scenes, they're getting eviction notices and bankruptcy papers. Today we're diving into the real financial stories of Real Housewives stars who went from glamorous to broke in a blink of an eye. Lynne Curtin. Let's start with Lynne Curtin from Real Housewives of Orange County, because her story perfectly shows how appearances can be deceiving. In 2013, court documents revealed that this woman had exactly $100 to her name. But here's where it gets really interesting. Lynne claimed she was spending only $515 per month total. Let me break down this budget for you. $150 on dining out, $115 for phone and internet, $50 on laundry, $100 on clothes, and $100 on entertainment. Now, she said, her jewellery business was bringing in $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year, which was about $8,000 below the poverty line at the time. Meanwhile, she owed $30,000 in back taxes from 2009, though she claimed those were her ex-husband Frank's responsibility. The most embarrassing part? Her daughters were served with an eviction notice while filming because Lynne wasn't home to receive it herself.
I'm here to serve an eviction notice. You've been served. Your mom and dad has been served. Thank you very much.
Viewers actually watched this play out on the show. Her financial troubles were a major factor in her divorce, as she accused Frank of hiding their true financial situation from her. NeNe Leakes. Now here's the plot twist that nobody saw coming. NeNe Leakes was reportedly making $2.7 million per season, more than any other housewife in the entire franchise. But even she couldn't escape financial drama. Back in December 2008, NeNe and her husband Greg got evicted from their 5-bedroom home for owing $6,000 in back rent. Now, $6,000 might not sound like much when you're making millions, but this was before her big payday years. NeNe tried to explain it away, saying it was some kind of lease purchase corporate deal between Greg and his company that went wrong. But wait, it gets better. Fast forward to 2016, it was at the peak of her career. She had just finished Dancing with the Stars, starred as the evil stepmother in Cinderella on Broadway, and launched her clothing line on the Home Shopping Network. This was supposed to be her golden year. Then the IRS dropped a bombshell. A tax lien for $824,000. That's over $800,000 in unpaid taxes from 2014 alone. The government basically said, pay up or we're taking your stuff. Instead of panicking, NeNe did what NeNe does best. She went on Twitter and served sarcasm. She tweeted, "Yes, I am broke and unemployed. Just another dumb celeb that doesn't know how to money manage." Then she added, "My priorities are all screwed up. I'm just a damn fool out here about to lose my house. Please start a GoFundMe." The woman turned her tax problems into comedy gold. Only NeNe could owe the government nearly $1 million and still find a way to make jokes about it on social media. Teresa Giudice's financial story became a criminal case that landed her in federal prison. Teresa and her husband Joe filed for bankruptcy, but they were accused of hiding assets. In July 2013, the Giudices were indicted on federal charges including conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud, bank fraud, making false statements on loan applications, and bankruptcy fraud. Prosecutors allege they falsely inflated their income when applying for loans before becoming Bravo stars, then hid assets in their bankruptcy filing. Joe also allegedly failed to file taxes from 2004 through 2008. Despite initially pleading not guilty, both Teresa and Joe entered guilty pleas in March 2014. Teresa served 11 months in prison, while Joe was released in March 2019 after 41 months, but faced possible deportation. By June 2018, their bankruptcy was dismissed as they had paid off everyone except the IRS and New Jersey State Treasury, with current payment plans for their back taxes. Kim Richards' financial problems were just one part of her larger struggles. The former child star turned Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Cast member owed over $118,000 in back taxes to California alone in 2018. The state placed liens on her for both 2013 and 2014. Her money troubles compounded when she was ordered to pay $266,000 in a settlement with a woman who sued after allegedly being bitten by Richards' pit bull. This came on top of her well-documented legal issues, including arrests for various charges. Richards was reportedly fired from Real Housewives in 2015, partly due to her substance abuse issues. Around that time, sources said she was living with her sister, Kathy Hilton, because she had nowhere else to go. One insider told Radar Online, "She has no place else to go, and no one in the family wants to loan her more money. If it wasn't for her family, Kim would be homeless." Sonja Morgan. Sonja Morgan's bankruptcy story reads like a Hollywood script gone wrong. In 2010, the Real Housewives of New York filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, claiming nearly $20 million in debt against $13.5 million in assets. The source of her financial trouble: a failed movie deal. Morgan alleged she had an agreement between her company, Sonja Productions, and Hannibal Pictures to make a John Travolta film called Fash Flash to Bank Time. When the movie never materialized, Morgan blamed Travolta's alleged diva demands. Hannibal Pictures sued Morgan, resulting in a $7 million judgment against her. With administrative fees, she said that judgment actually grew to around $9 million. To get back on her feet, she had to sell her properties in France and Colorado, but her legal troubles didn't end there. In December 2017, her bankruptcy attorneys sued her for allegedly not paying $350 in legal fees. That case was dismissed for lack of documentation, but different lawyers also sued her for $66,000 in another case that was dismissed on a technicality. She even put her $10 million Upper East Side townhouse on the market in 2017. Alexis Bellino. Alexis Bellino and her husband Jim learned the hard way that putting money into a house doesn't always pay off. They spent nearly $6 million renovating their Newport Beach mansion after buying it in 2007, then received a foreclosure notice in 2010. The couple defaulted on their $4.5 million home loan. When they tried to sell, they reduced the asking price from $4.99 million down to $3.6 million. But with interest and penalties, they still owed more than $4.6 million on the property. Jim's company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in December 2010. In his statement, Jim said, "To set the record straight, we have not filed bankruptcy," explaining that only the entity holding the house title filed for reorganization to protect the asset while they worked toward a resolution. The house was eventually listed as a short sale before they modified their loan terms. Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore from Real Housewives of Atlanta got hit with a reality check just weeks before giving birth to her daughter Brooklyn in 2018. The IRS slapped her with a tax lien for over $150,000. The lien was placed against her home, which she called Moore Manor. This meant that if she sold the property, the government would get their money before she saw a dime. Moore had already been considering moving, claiming the Atlanta property held too many memories of her ex-boyfriend, Matt Jordan. But her financial issues may have run deeper than just taxes. A source told Radar Online in 2014 that Moore was faking much of her wealth. The source claimed she had a local car dealership give her an expensive car on loan for publicity during filming, allowing her to appear wealthy while getting the dealership free press. Danielle Staub. Danielle Staub from Real Housewives of New Jersey filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection in June 2012. She listed $1.9 million in debts while reporting she only made $63,000 that year, $50,000 from appearing on VH1's Famous Food, and the rest from work with Dial-A-Star. Her debt breakdown was eye-opening. She owed $111,000 to the IRS, $70,000 in taxes to Wayne Township, and $5,000 in New Jersey state taxes. But what really stood out were her consumer debts, including a whopping $7,000 bill from Nordstrom, plus smaller amounts to Gap and Annie Says. Staub allegedly tried hiding assets during her bankruptcy case, but was caught and paid $35,000 to creditors in a settlement to avoid criminal charges. In July 2014, she was officially discharged from her $1.9 million bankruptcy debt, though she still had to pay her back taxes. Kim Zolciak. From Don't Be Tardy to Don't Pay Your Bills, Kim was once the queen of Real Housewives of Atlanta glam. Big hair, bigger personality, and a lifestyle that screamed wealth. But behind the Chanel bags and Versace china was a ticking financial time bomb. Kim first burst onto Bravo screens nearly 2 decades ago, quickly becoming known for her designer taste and wild spending. She married NFL player Kroy Biermann in a $1 million wedding. Yes, you heard right. A $1 million ceremony held on the very date November 11th, 2011. Together, they raised 6 kids and starred in their own spin-off Don't Be Tardy, which documented their extravagant lifestyle. But while the show was rolling, the money was flying, right out the door. According to court documents and public claims, Kim wasn't just burning through her own earnings. Her ex-husband, Kroy, alleges she blew over $600,000 on luxury shopping sprees over a 7-year span. Think Neiman Marcus, Chanel, Saks, you name it. And that's just what was documented. But the most shocking twist came from inside the house, literally. Kim's own daughter, Ariana, recently went public, claiming that the money she earned as a teenage influencer mysteriously vanished.
Ariana's money was spent on bills, to be honest. I was left, holding the bag for the family.
Ariana says from the age of 14 to 20, she was doing paid brand deals and making serious coin from Instagram. But she doesn't know where a dime of it went. Her bank account was empty, and the explanation? There wasn't one. Ariana revealed that not only was there zero transparency, but Kim was still calling her asking for money, even while living with 4 children during her messy divorce from RHOA. And to make things even messier, Ariana claims the tension over money has affected her own relationship with her boyfriend. Imagine your mum borrowing money you earned at 17, while you're just trying to pay rent. But let's rewind. This isn't the first time Kim's financial choices raised eyebrows. Back in 2014, she casually admitted to losing $250,000 at a Bahamas casino. She's known to spend hours playing slot machines, throw down $100 bills at blackjack tables, and once said she lost the price of an RV during a Vegas trip. And then there's the mansion, or should we say former mansion. The sprawling Atlanta home with a private hair salon, elevator and Versace china went into foreclosure in early 2023. By the middle of the year, Kim and RHOA were evicted by US Marshals. That's not just a Bravo scandal, that's federal-level embarrassment. Today, Kim is reportedly pawning off her designer goods, including used Prada and Chanel handbags. Meanwhile, her daughter Ariana is still picking up the emotional and financial pieces. Dorit and PK Kemsley, high rollers, heavy debt. If you've ever watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know Dorit Kemsley is all about the fashion, the glam and the luxury. But while she was flaunting designer head to toe and redecorating her mansion for the gram, her husband PK was allegedly dodging debts like they were paparazzi. Let's talk about how this jet-set couple found themselves in lawsuits, casino debts, and nearly asset seizures. It all started with a swimwear line. Back in 2018, Dorit and PK were hit with a lawsuit by a former business partner who claimed he loaned them $205,000 to fund the project. The money was allegedly never paid back, but that was just the surface. That same year, court documents revealed something much deeper and way more dramatic. The Bellagio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas came forward, claiming PK owed them a staggering $3.6 million from a high roller credit line, also known as a casino marker. Apparently, he made a few big payments. We're talking $875,000 chunks, but then tried to wave it all away by claiming that his UK bankruptcy filing had erased the debt. The problem? Bellagio said they were never notified that their claim was part of that bankruptcy. By 2018, the hotel was back in court, demanding payment. PK had already paid $575,000, but with interest piling up, he still owed over $2 million. He made a new promise to pay it all by June 2018, but allegedly ghosted them after May. By February 2019, the Bellagio was done playing games. They told the court that PK still owed $1.7 million, and they were ready to seize his assets if he didn't cough it up. But wait, the casino drama wasn't even the final act. Also, in 2019, a man named Nikos Kursis sued PK over a $1.2 million loan that dated all the way back to 2013. PK once again tried to play the bankruptcy card, saying the debt was wiped clean in his UK filing. But Kursis wasn't listed as a creditor in that bankruptcy. That technicality, it opened the floodgates. A judge ruled in Kursis's favour. He could now legally go after PK's assets. And when he started the process, PK reportedly scrambled and paid $250,000, which barely made a dent, allegedly just covering interest alone. And here's the kicker. The judge warned that if PK didn't formally challenge the judgment, his properties and valuables could be seized to settle the score. So while Dorit was busy launching new fashion collabs and giving glam tours of their Palm Springs-style mansion, her household was quietly surrounded by millions in lawsuits, unpaid debts, and court threats. Dana Wilkey. Remember Dana Wilkey from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? The woman who proudly flaunted her infamous $25,000 sunglasses like they were a personality trait.
Those beautiful glasses.
They were $25,000.
They're unbelievable.
They're like 4 carats of diamonds, and then they're gold python, and they're made of gold.
Okay, I'm loving the sunglasses.
Did you know? 25,000. That's right.
Well, it turns out she had more going on behind the scenes than party planning and over-the-top fashion statements. Dana wasn't just throwing parties. She was allegedly helping run a 6-year-long scheme that defrauded one of the largest healthcare providers in the country. And the FBI, they were watching. In June 2014, Dana was arrested and indicted by a federal grand jury in California on multiple charges: conspiracy to commit wire fraud, aiding and abetting, and making false statements to government agents. That's a mouthful, and a prison sentence waiting to happen. So what actually happened? According to federal documents, Dana, who branded herself as a successful entrepreneur, used her company, Adwell Agency, to set up a fraudulent marketing contract with Blue Shield, a major healthcare insurer. One of her co-conspirators, a longtime Blue Shield employee named Skylar Phoenix, who also happened to be in a domestic partnership with another key player in the scam, Lissa Phoenix. Here's how deep it went. The trio created fake employee records, false time cards, and shell corporations to move money around without raising flags. Dana allegedly cut 87 illegal checks, totaling $360,000 in kickbacks to Skylar, Lissa, and their fake company, Rodeo Pink. All this took place between 2004 and 2012. Yes, 8 years of cooking the books behind the scenes. And it gets worse. The FBI claims Lissa was paid for work she never did, and both Skylar and Lissa later lied to federal agents during the investigation. That alone could tack on additional jail time. The grand total of the fraud, around $500,000. If convicted, Dana faces up to 20 years in prison per count, a $250,000 fine, or double the financial damage, plus mandatory restitution and supervised release. Meanwhile, Skylar and Lissa were hit with similar charges and additional penalties for lying to the feds. But while most people would be laying low before a federal hearing, she was tweeting about going to Disney World. Woot woot! She wrote to her 45,000 followers, like she didn't just get out on $250,000 bond. Robyn Dixon. Before the Real Housewives of Potomac gave her a platform and a Bravo paycheck, Robyn Dixon was quietly drowning in debt. And unlike her more flamboyant castmates, Robyn's financial spiral didn't involve casinos, Birkin bags, or champagne showers. Hers was a quieter kind of collapse, but just as devastating. In 2013, Robyn filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, claiming she was buried under $217,000 in debt, while only earning $2,000 a month. Let that math sink in. Court documents revealed a grim financial picture. $28,372 owed on a 2011 Volkswagen, which was eventually repossessed, $16,577 to American Express, $10,871 to Discover, and even $3,000 owed to Bloomingdale's. But the real kicker, she also had to pay $16,183 in back taxes to the IRS. That's not just bad budgeting, that's years of financial mismanagement catching up. As part of her bankruptcy discharge in 2014, Robyn was required to complete credit counselling, essentially starting from scratch to rebuild her financial life. When asked about it later, Robyn kept it vague. She told OK Magazine, "When you hear someone has filed for bankruptcy, people picture people in the casinos, just like throwing money in the air. No, that's not what happened," she added. "Some things we could avoid, some things we couldn't." But she never specified exactly what went wrong. Jacqueline Laurita. Another day, another Real Housewife of New Jersey caught in a financial firestorm. And this time, it's Jacqueline Laurita. You might remember her for her emotional breakdowns and family drama on screen, but off camera, her real crisis was a financial disaster worth millions. Back in 2009, Jacqueline and her husband, Chris Laurita, were forced to file for bankruptcy after their clothing line, Signature Apparel, collapsed. But this wasn't just a case of a failed business. According to court documents, the couple was accused of continuing to take out business loans, not to save the company, but allegedly to fund their personal lifestyle. That's not just bad accounting, that's fraud. The bankruptcy trustee sued the Lauritas for a jaw-dropping $7.8 million, claiming they misused company funds while knowing the business was going under. The Lauritas, of course, denied everything. But the legal mess didn't stop there. By 2014, even Jacqueline's own lawyers dropped her, allegedly because she refused to pay them for their services. When your legal team walks away mid-battle, that's a red flag waving from across the courtroom. But the biggest hit, taxes. Radar Online revealed the Lauritas had been slapped with a $338,337 state tax lien since 2013, along with a federal tax lien of $85,127. And while they did manage to pay off some older debts, including liens of $9,851 and $78,857, The total bill kept climbing. From business bankruptcy to tax liens and unpaid attorneys, Jacqueline's financial saga is the kind of off-screen drama even Bravo couldn't script. Peggy, Tanous. You may not remember Real Housewives of Orange County alum Peggy Tanous. And that's fair. She was only on the show for one season. But while her time on Bravo was short, her financial troubles lasted much, much longer. In 2013, Peggy filed for bankruptcy, and the numbers behind her downfall are staggering. Court documents revealed her only source of income was $2,500 in child support, and that was from her ex-husband Micah, whose divorce she had never publicly acknowledged. But the real scandal, her Irvine, California mansion. Peggy had missed 75 mortgage payments. Yes, 75. By 2015, she owed $1.5 million on a home that was only worth around $840,000. That's not just underwater, that's financial freefall. And it gets worse. She also owed $300,000 on a second mortgage from another bank. With foreclosure looming, Peggy filed for bankruptcy just 3 days before the home was set to hit the auction block. But bankruptcy didn't save her. In 2015, her mortgage lender asked the court to lift the bankruptcy protection, arguing she had no equity left in the property, making it clear they wanted out of the deal and their money back. Peggy had left RHOC back in 2011 after just one season, claiming she went through months of negotiations before deciding to walk away. But behind the scenes, she was already on the edge, financially drained, legally cornered, and facing the loss of her home. Lisa Wu, former star of Real Housewives of Atlanta, once lived large with her then-husband, Ed Hartwell, in a stunning mansion, purchased for a hefty $2.9 million back in 2007. But luxury living came with a steep price, and the financial fallout was brutal. When the housing market tanked, their dream home's value plummeted by $1 million. Trying to sell, the couple hit a wall. The bank refused to approve the sale, forcing them into a financial bind. Lisa later told Essence that the bank chose not to allow us to sell and instead went after them for the difference, hoping to recover the full original loan amount. Despite paying millions in taxes over the years, they were stuck, forced to downgrade by moving to a different property they owned. They even tried to rent out the mansion, but the bank declined to restructure the mortgage to make it affordable. The result? A loss of over $600,000 on that home alone. The strain of these financial pressures coincided with their eventual divorce, marking a painful chapter in Lisa's post-Housewives life. Melissa and Joe Gorga. The Gorgas of Real Housewives of New Jersey seem to never catch a break. When they're not caught up in family drama, they're in court, facing lawsuits that could cost them millions. Enter Blanca Hernandez, who claims she was permanently injured at a property owned and maintained by Joe and Melissa's company, Gorga Enterprises. According to her lawsuit, the incident happened on January 27, 2021, at 10 Cortlandt Street, New Jersey, a location under their watch. Blanca alleges the property was dangerously neglected, leading to severe, lasting injuries that caused great pain and suffering, extensive medical bills, emotional trauma, and lost wages. She's now demanding a hefty $1.4 million to cover damages. But the Gorgas aren't taking this lying down. Their legal team denies all allegations, arguing that any damages were caused by persons not a party to this action, and that Joe and Melissa had no control over the circumstances that led to Blanca's injuries. They maintain that the couple and their business aren't liable. Sounds like a classic legal standoff, but here's the twist. Blanca claims Gorga Enterprises never officially responded to her lawsuit. So she asked the court to grant a default judgment against them. Basically, a ruling in her favour because the defendants failed to defend themselves. Melissa and Joe finally got lawyers from McDonald and Herforth to represent them, and a hearing has been set to challenge the default judgment request. And if this wild ride through Housewives financial drama has you hooked, you have to check out the first video we did on this topic. From bounced checks to foreclosed mansions, it's packed with even more shocking money meltdowns from your favourite reality stars like NeNe Leakes, Lynne, Curtin, Teresa Giudice, and others. Watch it here.